actually found a property. I'll share some numbers. I bought it. I bought the first one using my software officially at the beginning of 2022, and I bought it for $350,000. And every year, so the past 2 years, I've grossed $140,000 to $150,000 a year gross. I net $80,000 a year on that property. So that's a $350K purchase. I net $80K a year on a property like that.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I'm your host, Erika, and today I'm excited to be chatting with Kenny Bedwell. He's been shaking things up in the short-term rental space, and he has an awesome company called STR Insights. Kenny, I'm glad to have you here.
Thanks for having me on, Erika. Super excited to be here.
I think our listeners are really going to have a lot to take away with what you're doing in the rental space. So, let's dive on in. First, Kenny, can you share with our listeners what drove you to get interested in real estate? What was that like?
Yeah, for sure. So I started investing in 2017. I was actually doing a corporate job at the time at Citibank, and I wanted to invest in get outside of just normal stocks and bonds. That's what I worked in day to day. Oh, I've got a visitor with me all of a sudden. The kind of the joys of real estate. I've got a toddler with me. So anyway, she's going to join me for a second. So in 2017, I started investing in real estate because I wanted to get outside of just stocks and bonds and the equities world that I was in the day to day. So.
Yeah. What was that transition like? Was it smooth? Was it bumpy? Did you go all in?
Yeah. That's a great question. So I'm very conservative. I am not super big into, just jumping all in without knowing. And so I actually bought a duplex, and I house hacked in one side, meaning I lived in one side and rented out the other side. And I decided to do it on Airbnb because somebody told me that I could make more money doing that. And my conservative side was like, hey, if this doesn't work out, I could just long-term rent it and we'll be fine. We'll just try this out. And back in 2017, you could do things like that. Throw properties up on Airbnb and it would make money. And guess what? It made a ton of money. I made 3 times the amount of money that I would made in a long-term rental. And so that really inspired me to kind of get started and grow my portfolio. And then by the time COVID hit, I hit the ground running. Airbnb had exploded, and I was making a ton of money from that. And I had, at the time, I had about a portfolio of 10 properties, a few that I owned, and I also property managed some. So that's kind of how it got going to a point where I was like, hey, maybe I can do this full time, and I don't have to go into the office at the during COVID, it was like come in 2 days a week, go home for 3 days and work virtually, which made no sense to me either, but whatever. So long story short, I decided to leave my job after that kind of explosion with Airbnb during that COVID time and really expand my portfolio.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Yeah. Can you share more about your portfolio, what markets you're operating in, what kind of opportunities you see out there?
Yeah, for sure. So once again, I'm a big, I'm a little more conservative approach. I'm a big believer in diversification. I don't own just a bunch of short-term rentals. I own some long-term rentals, and I invest in, I have a 401k and an IRA and all that fun stuff. But I first decided to expand outside of where I lived. So I lived in Buffalo, New York at the time, and I actually gathered a bunch of data and just said, where are markets I don't know about out there that could work and make sense for me based on revenue potential and median listing price? And I found some new markets. I found some in New York, North Carolina. And so today I've used that data and those insights. So I have property in New York, North Carolina. I have some in Kentucky, Texas, Arizona, and I recently purchased a hotel in New Orleans. So it's really started to expand and grow and become diverse on where I invest. And that's helped me prepare for worst case scenarios, things happening, like if a hurricane, we had that actually happen in North Carolina. We had a hurricane come through in Asheville out of all places, and it just completely devastated the area. And if I had my entire portfolio there, I would have been in big trouble, especially as an entrepreneur with two. Obviously, you saw one toddler, but I've got two. Maybe the other one will run in and surprise us. But take that entire portfolio out if it gets hit by a hurricane. So I'm a really, really, really big believer in diversification, not just from natural disasters, but also too with regulatory risks. I've seen so many places, and this actually happened to Buffalo recently, where the city, whether it's hotel legislation or hotel lobbyists come in and say, hey, they pay some people and they say, hey, cut out let's stop Airbnbs, and they just shut it off the next day. So I'm a big, big, big believer in diversification of markets and even the types of properties you own as well.
Diversification really can be handy depending on the situation that you have. Can is Was that part of your inspiration with forming STR Insights, or at what part of your journey did that come along?
Yeah. So when this was like 2020, 2021, I was growing this portfolio, and I had a mentor at the time, and he was talking about black swan events. He was talking about this was when COVID was really, really blowing up. Obviously 2020 and 2021. And he was talking about diversification, and he said, you know, you don't know, no one predicted COVID. No one even expected that to happen. No one even knew that could happen in the way that the impact that it had. And so he said, you got to protect yourself. And that's where I started to get this idea of like, okay, I really need to invest outside of this one market, but where? Because I only know the places that I personally vacation to, because that's what I was buying at the time, were vacation rentals. And so what's going to fit my budget? I wasn't rich. I didn't have like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. I was doing well, but I needed to know where I could invest that I didn't know about yet. And so what I did, I used my data analyst skills from Citibank, and I took data of revenue from Airbnb and VRBO of properties and median listing prices and put it together to figure out what markets were viable for Airbnb in terms of the ROI. And then I was able to sort through those based on my budget and what my ROI goals were to find some markets that outside of where I was currently investing and knew about. And I actually found a property. I'll share some numbers. I bought it. I bought the first one using my software.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Officially at the beginning of 2022, and I bought it for $350,000. And every year, so the past 2 years, I've grossed $140,000 to $150,000 a year gross. I net $80,000 a year on that property. So that's a $350K purchase. I net $80K a year on a property like that. And that software I made, it actually was just spreadsheets. It wasn't even software. And I shared it with a few other investor friends, and they used it and they found markets and they invested in those markets and they were doing really well too. And they were actually the ones who convinced me to turn it into actual software and make it public for other people to use. And I that wasn't even on my radar. And so I decided to take that leap and, turned it into a company and public and, shared that software with other people. And, the success stories have been rolling in. We've since transitioned more into consulting where we still have our software, but we also help people and coach and mentor and actually do find the markets and deals as well. And that's kind of our main thing at STR Insights. But I love the investing portion. I tell people all the time, my clients I work with, I tell you, look, if I tell you to buy a property and I tell you I would buy that property and you don't buy it, I will probably go and buy that property. So I'm right there with you. Like I'm looking for good deals as well. And so I like to consider myself investor first and then business owner, but honestly, it's hat on, hat off all the time. So yeah.
Yeah. Yep, it's that kind of life. When
You get it. You get it. Yeah.
with the consulting that you do you tend to find that investors kind of run into the same issues, whether it's, something with their property or just how they go about finding the right place? Any pitfalls or things our listeners should be aware of?
Yeah. So our consulting primarily focuses on the acquisition side. And the biggest places where people mess up on the acquisition side is simply running the numbers, how to run the numbers. So first off, knowing what markets actually work. We hear I call it the boogeyman term in our space, and that term is saturation. What does that look like? What do markets, which markets are too competitive and have too many Airbnbs? We've heard that so many times. I see it all the time on YouTube or social media. At least I do. I don't know if other people do, but we're not making any money. The Airbnb busts or the bubble is popped and all these different things. And so first it's educating clients on which markets actually make sense based on their goals. Meaning like, why are you buying a short-term rental? What are you trying to gain from it? The obvious answer a lot of them say is, well, I want to make money. Sure, we all want to make money. That's a simple answer. But like, we get so many benefits from real estate. We get tax savings. We get appreciation. There's equity pay down. And then finally, you make money, which is what we call cash flow. So there's got to be more meaning and purpose and goal-driven purpose, like that why behind what we're doing. And that really helps us know where we should invest, because we have these goals that the purpose, why are we doing this? Why are we spending all this hard-earned money and sweat equity and things? Why not just go throw it into the stock market? You can get an 8% return, so the biggest thing that I help people with is understanding what their goals are. And then I can tell them, look, we should be investing here and here's why. And, this is what we should expect in the marketplace.
I want to go back to some of the short-term rentals that you have, and with them being in all different markets, I'm sure you have a lot of different stories, but I want to focus on some of the hard stuff because that's where you can learn valuable lessons from.
Yes.
Maybe a deal
Yeah.
went sideways.
Yeah.
Maybe you completely had to pivot. Can you share one of those moments and what you learned from it?
Boy. Yes. I mean, so everything is not uh
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
in this space, it's very easy to mess up. Because it's there you're really doing two things. Number one, you have to buy good real estate, meaning you don't want to buy over the market price. You don't want to buy something that's too expensive or something that's, like a money pit. And then the second thing is in short-term rentals, and it's just unfortunate reality of it is you have to run and operate a successful business that's hospitable. We live and die on guest reviews. And so buying properties that set us up for success, not only from a real estate ROI standpoint, but also from a guest experience standpoint, it's a 1-2 punch that you have to do. And I'm going to be honest with you, I've screwed up both. Like one of I'll shoot out a couple stories here, and if you like one that we want to dive into, let's do it. But egg on my head, or egg on my face kind of situations. But I bought land in Arizona that near the Grand Canyon. I was going to build on, and because I really like that area, and it's a good short-term rental market. But we didn't check the regulations. And they were like, well, you can only build 2 bedrooms, and we overpaid for the land. We didn't do that research, that check with the county to know what we could and couldn't build on that land. It just didn't work out. So now I have empty land in the middle of Arizona that, probably some squatters are living on. I don't know. But the property taxes are cheap. We're just going to hold on to it for a while, but it's there. And it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, crap, we made a mistake there. That was a real setback. Other properties we bought, they were in the right location. They look like really good properties, but we didn't think about the guest experience. We bought a property, a really beautiful historic home in downtown Buffalo. It was built in 1864, had a really cool history behind it. Beautiful wood interiors, everything. We did a few updates to that property. It was beautiful. But the problem was that it was a house that could sleep 12 on Airbnb, but it could only park one vehicle in the driveway. It was a very small little parking pad, and then there was nowhere else to park. So, like, who's staying there? That's gonna, 12 people in one car. That doesn't work. So, and we just got destroyed in the guest reviews. And it was such a cool property, but because the guest reviews and the guest experience was poor, we had to sell the property and move on from it. And so one of the things I tell people is, especially investing in any real estate at all, you're going to make mistakes. That's inevitable. Some of the best investors, the wisest, it's most successful investors in this space or in real estate that I know of, they've made mistakes. They make bad buys. And you know what they do, though, that separates them from everybody else? They know when to cut their losses and move on. And that's another thing, too, I see a lot of people struggle with. And so if you can accept that, accept the losses, the defeats, and learn from it, which is the important part, and then go down and have a win on the next purchase, you're going to do fine. You're going to be okay. But we will have moments where we'll make mistakes and we'll mess up. And, it happens to me, probably once a year. But that's, as long as I can learn from it and go, you know what, I can do this better next time. It's going to help me in the future tenfold.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to those negative experiences that you have when people are renting going forward, how do you enhance that experience and make sure it's a good one, whether it's things going smoothly or something with your process?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I could spend I just recorded a podcast on that actually. So I could spend like 30 minutes talking about it, but I'll keep it brief. When we purchase properties, we have for short-term rentals specifically, we have to put ourselves in the shoes of the guest. What will they enjoy? What will they prefer when they come and stay at this property? So what I mean by that is if you buy a property and it's outdated. The kitchen is ugly. The bathrooms are outdated. There's window AC units and there's, radiant heating and just outdated things. You're going to have guest complaints because most people don't like that stuff. Most people aren't used to that stuff. And people want to stay in properties that are nicer than the ones that they currently live in when they're on vacation. That's just a matter of fact. And so when we buy properties, we have to focus on, we can make improvements to the property all day, every day. I do it all the time, but I'm making improvements so that I can manage guest experience afterward. It makes it so much easier. After I do my updates, I had a property once, one of these old, houses in New York I bought that was built in 1910. I ran it as is in its current condition. It wasn't that bad, but it was still not great. And I ran it for 1 year. And I got so many, people were like, the place is clean, but it just is outdated. It just feels dusty, but there's no dust. I got that a lot. It was like so frustrating because it was a 4-star, 3-star review. And we live and die on reviews. And so I told people, I said, after 1 year, I shut it down. I'm doing a complete reno. We did $100,000 reno on this like $400,000 house. And after that, 0 complaints, 5-star reviews across the board, rarely any messages from guests about anything at all. It was just, it was a great opportunity. And that's just updating the property. That does include like if you add amenities and you add other additional things to the property to improve the guest experience as well. And that's another element to think about it is like, hey, how can I find these properties that I can add amenities to that will enhance the guest experience beside it just being a nice updated property?
Yeah. Do you find that that's really kind of dependent on the market that you're in, that you have to customize what you add on?
100%. It all depends on who is coming to the market and why are they coming to the market. For example, a property I purchased recently. So it's been a year. I purchased is in Kentucky. It was on the Bourbon Trail. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, it's like the Napa Valley, but for bourbon. There are over 50 distilleries in between this Louisville and Lexington area of Kentucky, and groups come down and they go drink at distilleries, go to the horse racing, PGA. There's a big golf scene down there and country music and all that fun stuff. But so I bought a property down there. And so the first thing I started with is before I bought the property was who is coming here? And when you think about it, who's coming to these types of markets? People who are older. It's not going to be families. I mean, families could, but we're thinking about the ideal guest avatar. Older people, 40s, 50s, 60s, who are going and visiting these distilleries groups. Okay. What else do they like? Well, if you're staying with a group of people, especially if it's more than, like close friends and it's like an actual big group of people, you're probably going to want to stay and have your own bedroom and bathroom. You're not going to be sharing, right? So when I bought this big property, I bought a 9-bedroom, 7-bath. It was like the one property I found that had more than like 5 or 6 bathrooms because for that size, because I know that the ideal guest avatar, they're going to want their own bathrooms. And I I didn't build this property. I found it. But as we're adding amenities, for example, the hot tub. Okay, this property can sleep 28 people. Well, an 8-person hot tub isn't going to cut it. And since we're not hosting a lot of families and we're targeting these big groups, we need 2 hot tubs. So we have 2 hot tubs. We also have a theater room, a yoga studio, a gym, a private gym on the property. We have a heated pool, 2 ponds that people can fish on. And I mean, yes, we host families still. I mean, it's not like anti-family, but the design, the aesthetics, it's all moody. It's dark. It's targeted towards king beds. There's not bunk beds in the property. It's all targeted towards adults. That property we bought for $1 million. So here's some numbers. We bought it for $1 million. We put over $400,000 into furnishings, amenities, improvements to the property and everything. It reappraised for $1.6 million. So we have a little bit of equity in it. So we put $400,000 in. This year, it grossed in its first year, it grossed $350,000 in gross income. The net is $175,000. So we're netting $175,000 on this property because we specifically targeted the guest avatar, who is coming there and why they're coming there, and created an experience around that. Our competition is not doing that. They're just trying to, they're getting nice places and they're adding nice amenities, but they're trying to shotgun it. I call it shotgunning, meaning like trying to attract everyone. When you attract everyone, you attract no one. Marketing 101.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, Kenny, everything you've shared today has been awesome, so insightful and helpful for our listeners today.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me on the show. Hopefully the visit with the toddler was okay. So it's part of life now, or they just kind of walk in, sit in your lap and smile and wave and then walk away. But anyway, it was good to be on the show and share some insights. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, I totally get the toddler thing. If someone listening today, Kenny, wants to reach out, connect, maybe they want to use your services, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Sure. So obviously I have a website, strinsights.com. Insights is spelled INSIGHTS.com. And then, but honestly, I just tell people, reach out to me personally. I try to respond to all the messages I get from people. So I'm on social media at Kenny_Bedwell. It's spelled as it sounds, Bedwell. So Kenny_Bedwell. Reach out to me, send me a message. Hey, Kenny, I heard you on the podcast. Would love to chat or have a couple questions, or I'm getting started. What do I need to know? My goal is to help people. You don't need to pay me to have a conversation with me. My goal is just to help you and get you pointed in the right direction, and then hear about your successes. So I love hearing people find successes and wins across this industry. So reach out to me.
People do, because you really have a passion for this. Thanks again for being here.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
For our listeners who are listening today, if you got value from this episode, make sure that you're subscribed to the Real Estate Pros podcast. We've got more conversations lined up with pros like Kenny, who are out there building fantastic real estate businesses. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.